Hello and welcome to Business Daily on Trust Television, your favorite program where we'll bring you major developments that goes on in the world of business, economy, finance, commerce, and the stock market. I am your host, Christiana Amodu Otinya. Thank you for always making a date with us on the program. First, we'll begin with the headline for today. Now, it's from the front of good news as the Naira exchange rate, the dollar crashes at the parallel markets to 730 Naira. So we are seeing some level of stability return back to what's happening in the forex market. Of course, we'll bring you more updates and business stories in the business roundup segment of the program. I'll take a short break. When we return, time to look at what's happening in the stock market. Now, U.S. inflation numbers indeed left investors holding onto their hats yesterday at the close of market. So give you more updates when we return. Please stay. Welcome back. Now let's get straight into what's happening. Updates from the stock market. As usual, we'll begin from the local buzz in Nigeria, talking about the Nigeria Exchange Customs Street. Now, the Nigeria equities market maintained a positive trajectory, up 1.07%, as you can see here. Now, market activity levels. Now, the all-share index, the benchmark all-share index, steadied at 43,942.82, and we had a total volume of 705.92 million shares, valued at 4.59 billion naira, changed hands in 3,472 deals on the floor of the Nigeria stock market. The equity cup settled at 23.93 trillion naira. So we saw investors in the Nigeria market gaining 253.6 billion naira. Let's go over to other African markets. Of course, we'll begin from what's happening with the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So the green is also extending into other markets in Africa. The JSE here is up 1.51%, and in Ghana, the Ghanaian bourse also climbed 0.04% at 2,462. For South Africa, the Public Servants Association of South Africa embarked on a nationwide strike over wages after talks with the government hit a deadlock. Now, regarding domestic data, mining output also contracted in South Africa. Let's go over to the global stock markets. Now, the U.S. inflation numbers came in, and that's a key data that the markets monitor. Now, a lot of investors, market watchers, have been expecting what the numbers will be like for the inflation data, the CPI, Consumer Price Index for the U.S., and it came in 7.7%. And experts have said we are seeing probably inflation in the U.S. is hitting a tipping point. And it was a gyration for the bulls in the markets in the U.S. Now, the Nasdaq climbed as high as 7%, 7.35%, as you can see there. The S&P 500 wasn't left out, 5.54%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average there up 3.77%. So those watching the markets are saying the decisions we are seeing coming from the central bank, Jerome Powell and his team, is beginning to yield results per se, as inflation is beginning to taper. Because, of course, central bankers across the world are seeing how inflation can be reined in, and that's why we are seeing a lot of tightening, hawkish stance from central banks across the world. Now, let's go over to the Eurozone and see what the sentiment is like for Europe. European markets also jumped Thursday, but we are seeing markets opening in Europe today on the basis of the GDP numbers from the United Kingdom. Now, the UK economy contracted by 0.2% in the third quarter of the year 2022, signaling what could be a start of a long recession in the United Kingdom. Now, the country faces a historic cost of living crisis fueled by a squeeze on real incomes from surging energy and tradable goods. So it's not looking so good for the United Kingdom. Although these numbers we are seeing, penultimate trade was largely positive, but markets this morning are being impacted, of course, by the numbers we are seeing coming in from the United Kingdom, talking about the economy contracting by 0.2%. However, the market is still basking in what we saw coming from Thursday, talking about the U.S. inflation figures. Now, the CAC run in France is up 1.96%, and the DAX in Germany climbed 3.15%. Over in Asia, shares in Asia Pacific also climbed after the release of the U.S. inflation data. Now, we saw the Chinese yuan, as the currency of China, marks its strongest levels in more than a month after China announced announced some easing of its COVID measures. The Nikkei 225 in Japan up 2.98%. The Shanghai Composite in mainland China climbed 1.73%. And the Kospi in South Korea surged 3.37%. So we're seeing a lot of reactions. The market's basically reacting to the announcements that come up from the United States. Going over now to the commodities chart. Let's see what the prices for commodities are looking like. So the green is indeed raining in. So it's a sea of green for the commodities market. Brent crude, the international benchmark for crude oil, up 2.03%, trading at $95.57 per barrel. I always say it's not uhuru yet, of course, for Nigeria. A lot still needs to be done in terms of economic diversification. Talking about economic diversification, coming down here to the bottom part of the chart, we see palm oil is up 3.52%. Wheat is doing 1.26% higher at 813.63 there. And cocoa is at $2,434 per metric ton, doing 2.61% higher. Over to crypto watch. Remember, we watch the prices in the crypto market. Now, unfortunately, the market has stayed largely bearish. So there's a lot of negative trend going on in the crypto market. And this is because we saw Binance pulling out from the purchase of FTX exchange. Remember, Binance said it was going to purchase FTX due to issues around liquidity crunch, but Binance is pulling out of that deal, and we are seeing that impacting prices. Although we are seeing some green returning back to the market, but these are the prices we have for you for the cryptocurrencies. That's talking about the flagship cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the Binance coin, all staying largely in negative zone. Those are the numbers we have for you today, of course, in the program. As it's our tradition, we'll continue to follow these updates and bring you developments. However, let's quickly take you through the business roundup.
Which has been falling against major currencies in the past 2 weeks, has staged a comeback, recording gains on the parallel market as it exchanged for about 730 naira to a dollar on Thursday. Recall that the Nigerian currency hit an all-time low of about 850 naira to the US dollar on the black market shortly after the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, announced plans to redesign high-value currency notes of 200, 500 and 1,000 naira and reissued from December 15th. In Lagos, black market traders attributed the recovery of the naira to its scarcity, saying this was responsible for the inability of speculators buying dollars to offer higher rates for the greenback. They said the dollar had risen to 730 naira, but said if a seller wants naira to be paid into his bank account, it would be done at a lower rate of 700 naira. In Port Harcourt, a dealer priced the dollar at 700 naira, but demanded 720 naira to sell dollars to buyers. In Abuja, around the Zone 4 area, some BDCs, Bureau de Change operators, recall the drop in patronage of the dollar over varying accounts of information.
Welcome back there. Just that short clip there talking about issues around fuel scarcity, and that will be the focus for the program today. We are focusing around fuel prices and also fuel scarcity issues. As we have seen in recent times, the queues are not exacerbating in the Federal Capital Territory and some other parts of the country. At some point, we saw the scarcity issues of petroleum products attributed to the unfortunate incidents of flooding that ravaged different parts of the countries. Now the waters have receded or are receding, and we are still seeing these queues and black marketers littered around the streets with gallons selling at exorbitant prices to Nigerians. Now, what is the way forward? Many have asked, will fuel scarcity ever be a thing of the past for Nigerians? I will be joined on the program by two gentlemen. I have a guest with me in the studio, and one of my guests also will be joining us virtually. I have Okoliko Emmanuel Ojonugwa. He's a public policy analyst, and my second guest is engineer Yabagisani, energy analyst. I want to speak to Emmanuel Okoliko now, especially on this issue of fuel prices, because a lot of, when we get to listen to those respondents, some of them say a lot of these petrol stations are not selling below the price of 200 naira per liter of PMS. And this is really a cause of concern because when we look at the future, talking about next year, we expect the subsidies to be gone forever. And the prices, as the NNPC have said, would even go above 400 naira per litre. What's your take on this issue? And were you able to get fuel? How much did you purchase?
It is, in fact, it is disgusting that we find ourselves where we are today. It took me hours to get fuel this morning. And you wouldn't believe that after long waits at the queues, because I needed to catch up with the studio here, I had to get from black marketers at the rate of 350 naira per litre. That is the same oil that God has so blessed us with. And that is why the chorus, we keep chanting the chorus of the blessing we have is like a curse to Nigeria. It's a very terrible situation. And there are flashpoints of a collapsing system, the systemic collapse that we have been talking about. That's the same thing. Death of leadership, death of a system. When the man who is supposed to do what he is expected to do does not do it, you do not build something on nothing and expect results. Obviously, somebody has answers to give to us, and we do not have it. You will agree with me that that person is not myself, is not you, it's not the ordinary common Nigerian, but the regulatory authorities, the NNPC, for instance, the marketers, the players within the system. If the marketers are selling at higher rates, just like you said, if the regulatory prices that we have was supposed to sell at 165 naira, and it is almost 180 naira now, like the official price, official rate that we will be comfortable, we are very comfortable with 180 naira now. So if at that point, and then you see some other places where there are no long queues, there are some parts of Nigeria where there are no long queues, but they sell at 230 naira, 240 naira, 220 naira, but there are no queues. Then you come to other parts of the country and then you buy at, if you want to wait to buy at 180 naira, for instance, you would have lost a lot of productive hours. And that's a lot, that tells a lot on the economy and commerce, on productivity, general productivity in the system. Okay. So if we have found ourselves in that situation, and then the regulatory bodies, those who are supposed to shout to shout foul, are not saying anything, government is not really coming out hard on the marketers, then something is fishy that you and I cannot explain. But the marketers themselves should be able to give explanations. Okay. The players should be able to give some explanations to the situation we have found.
Okay, Emmanuel, I want you to hold on to some of those thoughts, quite very significant thoughts that you have mentioned. I would interrogate that further, but we'll do that after this short break. Don't go anywhere. The program continues shortly. Please stay.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thank you for still staying there with us on the program. This is still Business Daily, coming to you from Trust Television. If you're just joining the program, of course, it's time to kickstart the interview segment of the program. I have my virtual guest with me now, and he is joining us. He is Engineer Yabagi Sani. He's an energy analyst. He will also be lending his voice to the conversation we are having today. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Now, just before I get the thoughts of both the gentlemen we have on the program now, let's quickly take what respondents are saying around the issue of fuel scarcity and fuel prices in the country. Take a listen.
PMS distribution in Benue State is gradually sending motorists into serious uncertainty as the scarcity of the product has reached its peak.
Experience is not funny. As you can see, we are queuing up. I've been looking for fuel. I live far away from here, and I've been looking for fuel down until I got to this place, just to queue up for fuel again. So the experience is not funny. The issue is not even the rise in the price. We can't even find it. Even with the rise in the price, we can't get fuel to buy.
A few filling stations can be spotted with the product, and even then, the pump price is between 230 and 300 naira per litre.
Fuel we have in Nigeria, we cannot produce. We produce it and sell to other countries who buy and sell at lower price. But here in Nigeria, every day you wake up, they decide to go up. So it has not been easy for we who are poor people to cope. But the big man there did not know how we are suffering. Since morning, I've been looking for fuel in town. I managed to get it here in this filling station, but the price.
So frustrating, it's just really very frustrating. Throughout the year, we've been having different prices of fuel. Today you see it 180, tomorrow you see 200, tomorrow, and I mean, it's just so crazy as a country. We can't even explain, and there's never a reason why for all these things about the fuel. We have seen it today, 235. What next tomorrow? It's just so frustrating.
The line is long and the fuel price has increased terribly.
The motorists are demanding explanations as to why the scarcity and hike in price. They said as it stands, many are wondering what is the true situation in the sector.
Help us out of this mess, because we don't even know what is happening. We learned that the subsidy has been removed, or whether it's still there. We cannot even tell what is happening because nobody is talking about it. So we don't know what is happening. They should just come to our aid. The suffering is too much.
Like the federal government to at least reduce the scarcity and the price so that it will be more like efficient for us to get and buy large quantities, something like that.
With the Christmas season inching closer, Makurdi residents are calling on the government to look into the problem before the holiday season.
Now, I want to bring in Engineer Yabagi into the discussion. Engineer Yabagi Sani, energy analyst. Now, before I have you react to some of the points that have been raised by the respondents, we were able to gather data on how far we have seen the trajectory move, especially for the prices. And we started from different administrations. Now, we will have that. Now, from the President Olusegun Obasanjo administration, we saw the price move from 20 naira to 30 naira, from 30 naira to 22 naira, from 22 naira to 26 naira, 26 naira to 42 naira per litre, 42 naira to 50 naira per litre, 50 naira to 65 naira per litre, 65 naira to 75 naira per litre. And under President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, we saw 75 naira, then it came down to 65 naira. Then under President Goodluck Jonathan, we saw at 141 naira. Then we saw the price drop again to 97 naira, following, of course, agitations from labor unions. Then it increased to 87 naira as the election, of course, approached. And under President Muhammadu Buhari, we've seen a movement from 87 naira to 165 naira. Engineer Yabagi, I really want to get your thoughts on, because many have asked, when will Nigerians be free from the shackles of fuel scarcity? Okay, I think we have lost him there on the virtual call, but we'll have him rejoin the conversation and get his thoughts. I want to come back to Emmanuel in the studio with me. We're having a conversation just when we were listening to the respondents, and you said you mentioned a very instructive statement, and you said, what should we do? So now I want to pose that question to you now, because from the voices of those respondents, you could hear frustration, you could hear tiredness, because then again, a lot of businesses, a lot of individuals need this product to run. You spoke about productivity earlier on. Let me hear your sentiments.
I had a very nasty and unpleasant experience myself this morning. So it's not just about the respondents, whatever they have said, but I have had a lived experience myself this morning. You know, having to queue for hours. I lost a lot of productive hours. I had plans of other things to do this morning before getting here. So I am personally too. I feel so so embarrassed myself, and I feel so sad that we found ourselves where we are today. But it is not a question of asking what we must do, but if you asked me, what must we do? I would simply say that enough of chanting the chorus of deregulation, chanting the chorus of bringing the private sector into it, chanting the chorus of subsidy, the rhetorics of subsidy payments and subsidy removal and subsidy withdrawal and subsidy reductions and all of that, and subsidy payments and all of that. Let's get to work. What we need here at this point in time is we must realize that at the mile of our season going forward, yes, we must develop that political will to act now. The political will, yes, to act now. The sincerity to act now. The data churned out to us by the various data agencies and the various data departments and all of that are not, Nigerians have lost confidence in any of such data. From the responses you got from a particular one lady who said, we don't even know what is going on. We don't even know. Nobody believes anything anymore. And so if you tell me, for instance, that I give you an example. Nigeria told us on the wheels of bringing up about change, this government came on board. And at a point, we bought rice, 50 kg of rice, for about 8,500 naira, for instance. And the promises were that if we're going to shut down the border, by simple, fundamental, basic economics, you know that we're going to boost local production and then we'll have more. If we have more, eventually running over time going forward in the long run, prices will come down, the commodity will be everywhere. We had rice pyramid here in this country to show the entire world that now we've been able to produce enough. We have boosted local production and then we now have enough. But today as we speak, we buy that same rice at about 40,000 naira per 50 kg. Okay. That means we are not doing the right thing. I'm not borrowing the leaf from there.
I want to bring in the virtual guest now. We have him back online. I want to bring him now, Engineer Yabagi Sani. Just before we lost you there, I wanted to get your thoughts on the current situation or the mood we are seeing in the oil and gas sector. Fuel scarcity, price increase, black marketers thriving on some of these disadvantages of the system.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I believe what is happening to us as that we have one of the most important sectors of the economy in such a state, deliberately disorganized. You know, you cannot. I mean, you can liken Nigeria as a country to a poor farmer, you know, in the village, who produces, you know, these products and earns very little from it. In fact, his life, when you look at him, is pitiful. But the people that he sends this product to, who are in the cities, who now, you know, will process it and bring it out, you know, and then also milk, you know, that farmer, because the prices they'll put on the product will be so high that the farmer had to go back and then produce so much. So that's what Nigeria is when you look at the oil and gas sector and the fact that we are producers of crude oil. And here we are, the worst, you know, in the worst case scenario, as far as the benefits of that God-given resources, you know, is concerned. We don't, you see, we have, like we all know today, corruption, you know, endemic in that sector. For one reason, because that sector, everybody knows it is the most affluent sector. It is the sector that unfortunately for us, even the previous governments and even the present government, for one reason or the other, they treat that sector with kid gloves when corruption issues, came up. Either because they are compromised themselves, they are part and parcel of the scam. That's why you hear of billions of dollars that we are losing in that sector, and you think, are they spirits? Are there not human beings that can be asked to account for all these things? So if you have, no matter how flourishing or how promising or prosperous, your country may be, if you have people that literally affairs of that the citizens get into us. Otherwise, we should.
Okay, I think we've lost Engineer Yabagi Isani there. Thank you for coming to share your thoughts with us on the program. We hope to have you in subsequent edition to speak to some of these issues. Let me come to Emmanuel in the studio here to help give closing thoughts on the conversation. And in your closing thoughts, I just want you to speak towards the way forward for this issue, because, like you said, enough of rhetorics and enough of going around in circles. In 1 minute, please.
Yes, we must deregulate fully. We must remove subsidy. Yes, we must remove subsidy now. That's the price Nigerians must pay now if we must get it back. It's a revolutionary act now. A revolutionary step we must take now. There was that political will, that sincerity on the part of government and on the part of leadership to reorganize and organize and reorganize the NNPC properly. The recent development is a very wonderful one, making the limited and all of that. But we must go a step further by deregulating completely, bringing in private sector into the sector, private investors into it. Once it becomes attractive, the private investors will definitely come in to invest. We must pray that the Dangote refinery gets to work quickly. And then government, whatever monies we're going to save from this subsidy removal now, this purported removal of subsidy, we must be sincere in diverting these resources we're going to get from here into massive investment in cushioning the immediate effect, because it's going to translate to hardship immediately in the short run. So we're going to, Abuja, for instance, as big as Abuja is, the entire FCT will not have a wonderful government that has no hand in the transport system. And so you must invest in transport. People must move from point A to point B, for instance. Government must get involved and all of that. So
thank you. Thank you for your thoughts. I think you have succinctly put what needs to be done. There's no need to add so much political will to ensure that it is done. Thank you so much, Okoliko.
I wish to have added that government must now put up regulatory. Sanctions must come to play. From point of these marketers, these tankers, for instance, they get fuel and they have to divert the fuel to where they will sell at higher price. That's why you don't see queues.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The time is never enough, but trust me, you have been able to put these points on the table, and we hope those that are listening will take these points. Emmanuel Okoliko Ojonugu, the public policy analyst, thank you for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts with us.
It's a pleasure being here.
We also had Engineer Yabagi Sani join us, energy analyst, to speak to issues around how this can be tackled. He talked about ending corruption in the system for that sector to flourish. And that's the size of the package we have for you on Business Daily today. Don't forget, you can catch up on all our programs on our social media platforms and major news making the rounds in the polity. Trust us to bring it to you on Trust Television. I am Christiana Amodu Otinya. It's Friday, but please continue to stay safe. Bye for now.